Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again, and it's a beautiful day out. I think it's gonna be the last hot day that we have until we go into this fall season. I'm super excited because this weekend is my old college's homecoming, so I'll be back there and I'll be DJing for my old band and drum section. So I'm excited to go back to my old school and see my old fellow alumni band members, and I'll be out there DJing and providing the music. So it's gonna be awesome. But also too, I just want to quickly talk about this wide receiver core for the Dallas Cowboys. Not specifically just the receivers, but I'm a lump in the tight ends as well. And how all of that correlates to Dak and the whole offense in general. Now, unless you've been living under the rock for the last 5 weeks of the season, you know that Dallas Cowboys offense has been some trash, and we ain't been doing too good. A lot of you guys hate Dak Prescott. You know, every fan has their own thoughts and feelings about the whole thing, but when I talk to you guys on my YouTube channel, I try to bring different perspectives to your attention. Not just my own personal opinion, but again, what's going on, what I'm seeing, stats. And you know, even with stats, sometimes stats can be skewed, but stats also give you a bigger picture of what's actually going on, because stats have a negative and a positive to it. You know what I mean? Like when you're looking at it as an overall and you're seeing the whole picture, not just one little thing, stats make sense. So, you know, it's situational when it comes to stats. Now, the way that this offense is run. Now, I've heard somebody say that Dak Prescott is a bust because he had one great year. Well, he did decent last year too, despite of us going 9-7, and despite of us losing Zeke for 6 games. I mean, he still was out there doing his thing. So I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think Dak is a bust. I think Dak just needs better coaching, and I don't know how many times I can reiterate this, but I just feel like this coaching staff is setting him up for failure. It's like, do you not want to see Dak Prescott win? Are you doing this because you don't want to pay him a second contract? I don't know what it is, but I just feel like they're setting him up for failure. And now he's getting all the blame. But the problem is his coaching staff is not taking none of the blame. They're just sitting there and allowing Dak to just take everything. Now, I got to give it to Dak because he never once complained. He don't throw the finger at nobody else. As the quarterback of this team, even though he knows the stuff that he's not doing wrong, he takes the blame for it. And again, as a quarterback, that's what you're supposed to do. That's the noble thing to do. But, you know, if you understand football and you understand dynamics and you see more than just the surface. Now, I keep telling you guys about that surface, right? There's things underneath that you guys have to delve into. All right? You with me? Delve deeper than just the surface, because it's more than just grass right there. You got dirt, you got rocks, and you got sediment down up in there. You got to get up in that sediment, y'all, and you have to bring it to the surface and see what exactly is going on. Now, there's so many different ways you can attack this. Now, right now, I just want to say, you know, just for brief video purposes, so I'm not talking y'all ear up. Like I said, they're not using Dak in the proper way that they're using him, that his skill set is. We've seen this over and over for years. You go back to his rookie year, his 13-3 season. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, because teams didn't have tape on him. Well, I want to tell y'all that after you play your first game, no, scratch that. After he played that first preseason game, when he came out there and was balling at the LA Coliseum at the Rams Stadium, when he went out there, his first preseason game, and he lit it up, look at it like this. We've seen him do much better. to call him a bust is, to me, doesn't make sense, because you've seen him do much better than what he's producing right now. I can see if he came out of the gate playing like that, then I'm in full agreement with you. Then I'm like, okay, I agree. Dak sucks. He don't need to be here no more. Now, I criticize when criticism is needed. I don't handcuff nobody. I don't make excuses for nobody. Because to be honest with you, I don't give a damn. I don't know none of these players personally, unless the ones that are my frat brothers that I've actually seen when they came to our Centennial program. But outside of that, I have no reason to say anything. I speak facts. I speak real shit, and excuse my language, but that's what it is. I don't, and that's what I'm about, because I want you guys to understand, and I want my fellow Cowboy fans to be smarter than all these dumbass fans from these other teams out here. I don't want us to be Eagle fans out here eating horse poop and climbing things and sticking their tongue on poles where it ain't supposed to be. I want us Dallas Cowboy fans to be much smarter than that. We are a much better fan base than that. Win, lose, or draw, we got to be here, y'all. And the reason why, like, I get on some of y'all sometimes is because I'm trying to get y'all to understand is I don't want y'all to be like those people. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a real Dallas Cowboy fan, if you're down with this, understand that it's more than what you see in the media. It's more than what is told. It's more than what is perceived, period. So, again, this is why us YouTubers, we delve into things. We show you some stuff that you don't see normally. You look at Vosh and Law Nation and Okoye. They're great at what they do. They're great at their film breakdown. They show you guys different things that you don't normally see watching the game. For instance, like players that are not skilled players, like offensive linemen. Nobody pays attention what an offensive lineman is doing when you're watching the game, because you're looking at the skilled players, the people with the ball. That's just the way the human mind works. Now, also, too, you got guys like me and Mark that, give you news, give you, real-time analysis, outside of film. And DMV does it as well. So, oh yeah, and Foots does his breakdowns and stuff like that. So we all bring different things, but we're all Cowboy fans trying to show you guys what things are and just educate you on things that you may not see and you may not understand. That is our purpose. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's here trying to be negative. Nobody's here trying to shame nobody. And again, y'all already know how I roll. I don't bother nobody unless you bother me. I am such a chill dude. I'm approachable. You can talk to me anytime, whatever. That's just how I am. But, let's be positive in that aspect. Now, back to what I was saying. So, you look at Dak Prescott right now, and shout out to Law Nation for all his analysis and his research as well. Dak Prescott right now, you look at what he's good at. He's a mobile quarterback. He in college, all he did was play action and shotgun. Those are the things that, like, he was great at. I don't even think that he really took many snaps under center in college. That was the reason why that was one of the reasons why he wasn't drafted to the 4th round, because, you gotta take the ball under center when you get the pro levels, because, again, that's the proper way to do it. But you look at the way that he was used in college, the way that he played. If you paid attention to how he was at Mississippi State, you know the type of player he is. You know he's a mobile guy. Yes, he can throw the ball when needed, but again, play action. Play action. The boy is 123.9% passer rating in play action. 123.9 passer rating in play action. So what does that tell you? Use him in play action. Use him in RPOs. RPO, play act. Like, that run pass option is huge when it comes to a quarterback like Dak Prescott. You look at what Carolina is doing with Cam Newton and what they have been doing with Cam Newton since he's been in the league. He has a new coordinator, North Turner's over there now, and North Turner did not go in there changing what he does. He had a meeting with Cam when he came in there. I was like, look, we're going to do what you do best, and we're going to succeed at that. And that works out. You look at the tandem that's with him and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is a dual threat. He's a runner, and he could catch out the backfield. So why the hell can't we do the same thing? And you have a guy like Zeke that can, actually he's a triple threat because he can run, he can catch, and he can block. He's a great blocker. That all just, it's just asinine to me. And I don't understand Linehan because it's not like he hasn't been on teams with talent. He had Calvin Johnson, Megatron. You know what I mean? Like, he's been with the Rams. He's been the Rams coach. So he knows, he's been around other coordinators and other coaches that have done great things. But him himself, I don't know what it is. It's like, are you not trying? Do you not care? Is Garrett just telling you, hey, this is the game plan, and we're not gonna go away from this? We're not gonna make any adjustments? Because if the Atlanta game last year didn't show you why you should make adjustments in the game, then I don't know what to tell you, because then you're going to fail and you shouldn't be a coach in this league. Period. Now, you look at the play calling. I don't know how many times I have to just delve into this, but it none of it makes sense. It's bipolar. That's what it is. It's like 1 minute you get a game like the Giants, and you get a game like what was the other game that we had? Basically, all of our home games we had great play calling. Oh, the Lions. I'm sorry, the Lions game at home. And you look at what we did in both of those games, and they let Dak open up. They let him run out of the pocket. He ran himself. They did play fakes. They caught Ezekiel Elliott on a wheel route that went 20 yards past for the first down. End arounds. Sluggo passes. Those short routes. Those short slant routes. Look at the Giants and what they do with Odell Beckham. That boy is the king of slants. Yards out the catch. Those are things you should be doing with Tavon Austin. Stop throwing. I know Tavon Austin is fast, but stop throwing him the ball deep downfield, because he's still a small guy. I mean, you can do that every once in a while when you know that he can beat that corner. He's wide open. That's it. But don't keep doing stuff like that. Don't make that a habit. Get him the ball in space and let him work around that and juke guys and use his speed to get past them. We still have too many weapons on this offense to sit here and to be 2-3. It doesn't make sense. We should have won that game. We should have won that Texans game. There is no reason why we should have lost that Texans game. And I know the Texans probably looking at that like, oh, if the Cowboys going to give us the game, we're going to take it. And that's what happened. That's basically what happened. They took the game. You look at our wide receivers right now. Allen Hurns. Allen Hurns said himself. Cole Beasley said himself. Hey, we're getting open. They're not open all the time, but they're getting open. And it's not a shot at Dak per se. Now, they did say that, Dak missed some reads, and Dak does miss reads. He does. He has to do a better job at that. But also, I know some of that has to do with because the offensive line isn't as great as it was Dak's first year. Tyron Smith is continually to deal with his back issues. You can see that when he gets bull rushed by speed defensive linemen, he gets pushed back, or they get past him. Connor Williams, a rookie, he's still learning. He's still the wheels are churning, but he's definitely getting better every week. Travis Frederick is out for his illness. You got Joe Looney in there. Don't get me wrong, Joe Looney is doing a good job, but he still ain't Travis Frederick. There's not many people like Travis Frederick. I dare anybody to refute that, but In my opinion, Travis Frederick is the best corner in the National Football League when he's healthy. I just fear that he might not ever play again because of how this illness has weakened his muscles. And again, that's important as a lineman. You got to be big and strong. You got to be able to handle these guys coming at you full force. Now, the good thing about an offensive line is they're great at pulling. They're athletic, so they can move. So anytime we're doing pulling and lead draw, either to the left or to the right, if you're watching the game and you're seeing the offensive linemen do that, you know that they're good at these things, and you know they can get it done that way. So as a coordinator, if you know these things, simple facts, why don't you use your play calling around what you have going on? Instead of just sitting back and be like, you know what? We're just going to give Zeke the ball and let him run straight up the middle with 8 months in the box. We just going to run it straight up the gut with 8 men in the box. And Zeke dealing with bursitis. Okay. That is so smart. Wonderful. Doing a great job, Linehan. Not. Anyway, said anybody ever. But again, the wide receivers are saying things and they're letting you know, basically in a nutshell, it's the play calling. Alan Hearn said it himself when he was talking to the reporter Anderson, basically saying that Dak Prescott does miss his reads sometimes, but the real problem is the play calling. Sometimes the blocks aren't there, but for the most part, it's the play calling. The play calling is not getting the receivers open. They're not calling the right plays on what the defense is giving you. Perfect example of this. Dez Bryant, his last tweet, when Jerry said that stupid stuff about not having a number one wide receiver in the last 3 years, what did Dez say back? Now, I got to give it to him. He kind of took the high road on there. He didn't disrespect nobody, but he basically said the truth. He said, hey, you a wide receiver of Dallas Cowboys, you got to be patient and you got to be strong because you're not going to be the number one, because especially when Tony Romo was here, Jason Witten was the one. And even when Tony left, Jason was still the first choice. Wide receivers come second. I feel like the offense is not structured on giving the ball to the receivers. When you pass the ball, that's who you giving it to, a receiver. Yes, tight end gets the ball too, but a tight end should never be your first target, ever. Your receivers are always first when it comes to passing. So I get Dez on that. And, you know, I hate when people be like, oh, this player sucks. Put half these players on another team, and I guarantee you they'll do well. First of all, you can tell they don't give a damn about Dak Prescott. He has a former player that is still young enough to play, that will be a forever backup, that has been said in so many ways not good enough to ever be a starting quarterback in this league, as your quarterback's coach. What? You know that's all Linehan, because he came from the Lions with him. So he knew everything about him. Now, I'm not trying to take nothing from Kellen, because I know that he comes from a coaching background, but he was not ready for that position. He is not in a situation where he could be a quarterback's coach to a player that's still in his prime and still learning. Still young in his prime, not even deep in his prime. Dak Prescott is young in his prime. Yes, this is his third season, but think about it. Most wide receivers come in the league sitting on the bench their first couple of years. Dak Prescott was thrown into the bull. So when you're playing for somebody and you're handcuffed and you can't do what you can do, think about that, y'all. Just think about that before you start trashing Dak for everything that he is. Again, I say it over and over again. Dak ain't perfect. Dak is not elite. He will never be elite. He is a tier 2 quarterback, in my opinion. A bus driver, if you will. He's capable enough to get the job done if a coordinator calls the right game. Dak is as good as his coordinator. And our coordinator's trash, so Dak is going to be trash. Think about it. When he was at Mississippi State, he took a a sorry team to a title. He comes to Dallas Cowboys, does great his first year. Tony Romo was still on the bench. When Tony Romo was here, he ain't listened to Linehan nor the coordinators before that, or Jason Garrett when he was the coordinator. He ain't listened to none of that. Tony Romo was on this team for a long time, so he knew the playbook inside and out. He knew how to manipulate it, and he knew how to read defenses great. Dak Prescott still has to acquire that skill. He hasn't gotten to that point yet in his career. But you look at Tony Romo as an undrafted pick. You look at a guy that sat the first couple of years of his career behind Bledsoe and Quincy Carter. You look at that and you're like, okay, when he gets in here, he's going to have a more better basis on what the offense was. Yeah, Tony made a lot of mistakes, but Tony had to do that. Tony put his heart and soul on the line. He broke his body up because they didn't have an offensive line before that. It took them to later in his career to get a solidified offensive line. And when they started to do that, things did get better. But again, if nobody's calling the plays right, these receivers can't get open, and nothing's going on. This is the reason why this year you have 7 damn receivers on the team. When they did the final cuts, when I saw that they had 7 receivers and 4 tight ends, I'm like, oh, you guys don't even know what y'all doing. You cut Dez because you said that he couldn't run routes. So, but you have a tight ends coach in here now named Sanjay Lal that's supposed to be the route tech guru that could get these guys right. Cole Beasley said himself he loves the coaching as far as Sanjay Lal goes, but there's a disconnect between that and the offensive coordinator because the offensive coordinator is not playing to these wide receivers. You ain't gonna tell me that a guy like Allen Hurns that you're paying $6 million for a year just now scored his first touchdown in Game 5. The hell? So, and I know Cole Beasley's pissed off. Bruh, I got 1 pass caught, and that went until overtime. If you're trying to make Cole Beasley your number 1, that's wrong. Because Cole Beasley is a surefire number 3. And the reason why I say he's a number 3 because he's a slot guy. He's that shifty little guy that can slip up under the coverage and get those yards after catch. That's what he was doing before when we had Dez here. But you don't have the threat of Dez. You don't have a threat of a receiver. Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know they probably in their meeting salivating right now. They like, oh, we ain't even worried about these receivers. They ain't about to do a damn thing. And they know that it's Linehan. These players know each other. These players know who sucks and who don't. You know what I mean? Yeah, they talk trash on the field, but how they really feel, half the time they're like, man, I feel sorry for you, bro. You got to deal with that over there. But hey, we're playing against you, so we're going to beat you. That's how it is. It's like, it is what it is. Jaguars ain't scared of none of our receivers because we ain't got nobody right now that's a threat or somebody that was able to step up and do anything this year. 7 receivers. I saw Bryce Butler maybe twice on the field since he's been back. And I think he only had like 1 snap this last game. And that was when, what was it, the Hail Mary pass? That was the only play that I saw Bryce Butler in on. You're not using him. What did you go get him for? Why did you get Bryce Butler if you're not going to use him? I don't know how many times I have to say this. Tavon Austin. Get him in the game more. Get him in open space and see what happens. I'm telling you, it's always a positive. Because if you notice, whenever we have a drive with Tavon in there, we score. When we don't, it's a dud. Dud. 3 and out. Kicking it right back to the other team so they could just run it downfield on us because you let your defense out there so long. They tired as hell. They tired as hell. So that's basically where I'm at with that. Now, as far as these tight ends go, we know that they're not great. We've been spoiled as a fan base because we didn't have Jason Witten since 2003. So you're not going to find that type of player. Again, Jason Witten is a decade type of player. Those type of guys don't come along very often. But when you get them, you got to get them. Now, Swaim is doing much better. Why? Because those games that they were playing and making better play calls in those particular games, he did well. So again, Jeff Swaim don't suck. You got to use your players right. You're not doing it. Rico Gathers. Rico Gathers may not know the offense like that, but on that 30-yard catch that he had finally, you should have been doing that every week of the season this year. You should have been doing that. There's no reason why you're not putting him in getting the ball. And I hate when they do this because they're so everybody knows what you're doing. You're so predictable. You put Rico Gathers in one damn play and they know that he gonna get the ball. Why don't you put him in on plays where he's not getting the ball? That way the defense is like, well, I don't know who's gonna get the ball now because they didn't give it to him the last time he was on the field. You gotta switch it up. You gotta trick the defense. Come on now. Yes, Dak has to do a better job at read defenses. He has to do a better job at his reads in general. But again, he running around for his life right now because the receivers are taking a little longer to get open because these secondaries from this other team ain't afraid. So they're doubling guys and they're playing coverages that they're just basically saturating. So they're actually forcing you to try to beat you, but you're not throwing it deep. If you throw it deep on some of these teams and back them up, man, I'm telling you, you'll see much better results when it comes to things like that. But they're not doing that. So again, I say this to say that a lot of this has to go back to coaching. Now, I guess I said Dak is some of the blame. Some of these receivers are to blame for dropping balls or whatever. Two of the biggest criticisms that I have for Dak Prescott that he needs to get better at is his feet. He needs to set his feet before throwing the ball. Because sometimes he has time to do it and still don't do it. Because he's not skilled enough as far as arm strength yet to be able to throw it off of just off a whim like that. I like that play where he rolled out and there was nothing there and he threw that ball deep to Tavon Austin. Again, I'm not in agreement with throwing the ball deep to Tavon all the time, but if it works some of the time, if you do it once or twice here and there, that's fine. But again, you need Tavon in shorter passes, open space, and let him go. That's it. That's it. That play with Deontay Thompson where, again, that was the wrong play that Linehan used as far as the coverage that the defense was giving you. That's why they picked off the ball, because it was too predictable. You got to work on that. You got to fix that. I mean, these receivers don't suck that bad for you to not have this production. Because you look at Allen Hurns, he's done some things when he was with the Jaguars. He has. When he was with the Jaguars, to me, Blake Bortles ain't no world beater. He's not. I look at it like this. All right. Blake Bortles ain't no world beater. But right now he's better than Dak Prescott because they're winning. And my whole thing is this. When you have a coaching staff that's using you the right way, you could do a lot of things. Like Jared Goff. Everybody thought Jared Goff was a bust. McVay comes in and now he's a fantasy hero every week almost. So again, every player has their good day and bad day, but you know, when you coaching and stuff, you got to do better as a coach, because this is the pro leagues. This ain't high school. These little Pop Warner little plays that you're doing is not going to work in the NFL. And right now, the Cowboys are laughing stock because they don't do what they need to do to make things right. Period. So that's pretty much how I feel about that. And you look at you just get tired. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, y'all, all is not lost, because thank God, this NFC East sucks, because Cowboys are technically still in it, even with all this craziness going down. But we got to find a way to beat the Jags. I don't know how they're going to do it, because Jags is a good team all over. But their offensive line, that's their weakness right now. Their offensive line, they're playing with third stringers. So we got to get our defense right. But again, the offense has to do its thing, because you can't let this defense go out there and play the whole game like that, because they're going to get tired. And what's going to happen, the offense is going to be healthier and they're going to be ready to go, and the defense ain't going to be ready because they're going to be tired. So you got to call the right plays. Linehan got to do a better job. We got to go, man. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I don't know if this team needs to go out and find a number one. I don't know if they need to bring Dez back and cut some of these other guys and just keep some core players. But, again, you got Cole Beasley, you got Tavon, you got Allen Hurns. Now, what I would do is, say, for instance, if you were to bring Dez. So you would have Dez, Cole Beasley, Tavon Austin, Allen Hurns. And I guess your fifth guy would be Bryce Butler. That's it. That's all you need. Everybody else cannot be there. I mean, I know Deontay Thompson, they like him because he's a fast guy, but you ain't using him either for real. So, I mean, and he's can do the same things that Allen Hurns can do. So, I mean, he's not really separating himself from the pack. So, it's not like you're losing anything. And remember, you still got Noah Brown on IR. They're supposed to be coming back in a couple of weeks. So, now you got to figure out what you're going to do. You have guys. Figure out how to use them. And that's all I got to say. It's not rocket science. They need to cut this wide receiver core from 7 to 5. Concentrate on those guys. That way Dak can get his rapport with these certain guys and know how to pass it to these guys, and leave it at that. And that's it. So let me know what y'all think. Yo, it's your boy E2 Blue. Always keep it real. Like, share, comment. It's your boy E2. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.